Hello, everybody, and welcome to Signature West Podcast. I'm your host, Sam West from Palm Springs, California. As you know, I'm a seasoned real estate agent since 1991, and I bring you the podcast to bring you inspiring stories. It is no exception. This is my first podcast for 2026. So I'm a little late to the party, but it takes a village. So bear with us here. My first guest today is Chris Ruetz, and he is the chair for an organization here in Palm Springs called OnePS. Hello, Chris.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
Good.
So, before we get started, why don't you tell us what exactly is OnePS stand for?
Well, OnePS stands for the Organized Neighborhoods of Palm Springs. And people are often surprised to hear that there's actually 52 organized neighborhoods in Palm Springs. This, of course, goes back many, many years, well before our organization. Old little villages became neighborhoods, and only in 2005 did we become an officially organized entity.
And what does it do? Like, I'm just trying to be clear. For me, at
Well,
least,
that's a good question. I hear that all the time. Back before social media, we were very much relied upon as a conduit for communication from the city to and from the city. So neighborhoods would express issues, the city would hear them, the city would communicate to neighborhoods. These days, with technology and with all the wonderful news channels that we have available to us here locally, some people say, well, we don't need to have meetings anymore. And I disagree because it's really through community, it's through one-on-one personal interactions is where people really learn about what's going on in the community and how they share best practices. So I think we're going to be here for quite a while.
so give me an example. You do meetings, and what's the purpose of the meeting? Like, is it like
So we meet
city?
monthly as a kind of a confederation of neighborhoods, if you will. Each neighborhood has a representative. So it's kind of like a House of Representatives, if you want to be grand.
Right.
And then we all get together once a month and we listen to the mayor, we listen to the chief of police, we listen basically to the heads of departments throughout the city who have updates on what is going on. And then neighbors have an opportunity really to ask very direct questions without fear or anxiety and just say, hey, we have a problem here. What are you going to do about it? And it gets a lot of attention. And in many occasions, there are results to problems solved. So I'm very excited how we really make a difference in the community.
So when you say cities, are you including the entire Palm Springs, North, Central, and South?
All of Palm Springs,
All of Palm Springs.
exactly,
Exactly.
from north to south.
And where are these meetings being held at?
We meet monthly at the Police Training Center. It's a conference room or conference center, if you will, adjacent to the police department on
Uh-huh.
Civic Road.
Yeah.
Meetings are second Tuesday of the month from 4 to 5:30. It's open to the public. You don't have to be a member of any neighborhood or official representative. And we'll get, well over 100 people and often the press. So it's quite an important forum.
When you say the public, I'm assuming only Palm Springs public.
Oh, anybody can come, but I mean, we're Palm Springs centric, so
Right.
those are the issues that we're discussing.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so let's get back to you. Let's go back to you. You moved here 10 years ago from the Bay Area.
That's right.
Why?
Well, I figured that as often as I was coming here on vacation
Might as well
and
move.
and wanting to never go back and then wanting to get away, I'm like, well, why do I live in a beautiful city of San Francisco, which, was still very beautiful at the time? Um, you know, why not live where you want to get away to? So it was a kind of a leap. And of course, being a realtor, you understand in 2015, I think, um, I had a wonderful opportunity, I suppose, to yield value of San Francisco property in exchange for Palm Springs property. So it was a great time to buy. And a year later, I moved my elderly parent, and so this is the new home for the next chapter.
Good for you. But you had no other plan than to move. There was no, you know, job planning or
No, that came later, actually. That
right.
that's why it's such an interesting leap. I went to the first open house of the home I own now, and I'm like, okay, if I don't seize this opportunity, that will never come again. Um, and so, I'm just very fortunate. It was a great alignment of stars and planets, and and pricing. And so, yeah, it's I don't regret the decision.
What were you thinking of doing for like for living when you moved here? What were you planning to
I've
do?
been in the nonprofit arena for quite some time, mostly in organizational development, and it's an industry that's everywhere. It's like, if you can sell a Buick, you can sell a Pontiac. So I wasn't worried about, finding an opportunity. I just knew that, looking forward and being at a certain age, I should probably be thinking about what does the future look like in terms of where I want to live and so forth. So, all those things happen in a flash too. You don't spend a lot of time thinking sometimes. You just
No,
sort of
no,
do
it's just organic.
act on impulse.
Right, right. And see what happens. Right, right. Um, and when you first moved here, how did you hear about OnePS?
Well, it's interesting. I'd lived in a small town near Berkeley, up in the Bay, that was very, very active. Had a not really an organized neighborhood group, but it was very organic, and a lot of different neighborhoods had these little groups, and it was a great opportunity for making and having friends and being aware of what's going on, and particularly where we lived, we were right on, ironically, also on the San Andreas Fault where we are today as well.
Mm.
um, it goes all the way up, and mostly about emergency preparedness. So when I moved here, I'm like, okay, where's the neighborhood group? And I didn't really see one and know about one. And long story short, I just kept asking around until I finally ended up at City Hall saying, look, if there isn't one, then how do I create one? Turned out there was one. It just wasn't really well, exposed. Um, so again, long story short, I found the organization, I got involved, and as often is the case in my life and career, oh, you're good at this. You ought to be like the chairman or the president, or
You
you
want to
should
buy?
be
You
on the
should buy this. You
board.
should buy this.
And it's just like sort of been my I keep falling forward into more responsibility. So little by little, without planning or strategy, I have found myself now as the chairman of the mothership of all neighborhoods, and I'm quite happy to do that. And it's something that'll obviously yield to others in the future. But yeah, it's been a rewarding journey.
So, what year was that when you started? When you found out
I
about the
moved here
OnePS?
in 16, and probably within 6 months, I was nosing around like, okay, what am I going to do, and
So
how do I
six.
get to know the people around me? So it's been 10 years as well.
So 10 years. So if you compared the beginning of the 10 years till now, how would you describe it?
I'm sorry.
If you compare the 10 years when you started till now, how different is it?
In terms of the
The structure of
organization.
the organization, the structure.
Oh, um, well, I believe, pretty sure we have grown in size. Um, we we used to have meetings, and I wasn't in leadership at the time 10 years ago, but we'd have meetings and people would come and talk and so forth. And I fast forward to today. Um, Members of my board, myself, are often invited to participate in, larger city boards and commission discussions and in a larger role of participation. So I think that over the last 10 years, and I would not take credit for all of that, but I would say that we've grown in relevance and value, and the community and the city really look to us as, I mean, after all, every neighborhood collectively is about 44,000 people total. So, we kind of, without being elected to any sort of city positions, we really do represent the entire community. So I think our relevance has grown and become of greater value in the last 10 years.
So if I ask you, now that we have a background on the organization and a little bit about you, if I asked you basically the mission, the vision board is to get the community together and discuss, things that need to be addressed. Is that correct?
That's exactly right.
So in the last 10 years, if you can give me examples of what were the concern and how were they addressed, what will you tell me?
Let's see. Well, one thing that always comes to mind, particularly for the neighborhood I live in, um, I'm in Movie Colony East, and a number of years ago, the the land south of us that's currently vacant was slated to become an arena. And like a lot of projects, there's a lot of initial discussion and maybe they never come to pass. But then you don't know that in the moment. Um, so, the renderings were very attractive and they looked very small and low profile and not a very tall building. And you start getting into the details of 10,000 seats. It's like, well, that's a lot of
That's
seats.
not so
Well, it's going to be a
small.
lot of people. And, well, where are they going to park? And um, I couldn't get past the number 2 to 3,000 parking for 2 to 3,000 people. So that could be, I guess 50% of that if you have two people per car. So the bigger question was, well, where would the rest of them park? Um,
In your garage.
and there was no talk of more parking garages or subterranean or elevated or what have you. So it just kind of came down to, well, people will figure it out. So, so I'm Movie Colony East, and to my west is the Movie Colony, and other neighborhoods all surrounding this area. And we're like, so potentially, people will be parking all the way up into our neighborhoods, bumper to bumper, for just about any and every concert, hockey game, whatever, pretty much every night of the week, perhaps.
But correct
Um,
me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it usually the process when these things happen with the city, because it goes to the city first. When these things happen with the city, they give them the planning, and part of the process is the parking. Isn't that how normally it's done?
well, yes. Not to cast dispersions here, but this was a tribal project.
Okay.
Um,
I'm very
so
aware
I
of it.
could
I know the
I
story.
could punctuate that and leave it right
I
there.
know, I
But
know the story. Yeah.
yeah, so process was different because of the nature or the I guess the origination of the project.
Interesting.
Um, so this is a long story, but I'm just saying that as organized neighborhoods, we were able to get together and say, well, this is not going to be really attractive for us on many levels, and I became a spokesperson for it, kind of self-appointed, and just sort of spoke to the city and said, well, we could successfully lobby for permit-only parking in our neighborhoods, meaning if you are a resident or an invited guest, you have to have a permit in your windshield, and everyone else attending events in the near future would not actually have legitimate or legal parking. Anyway, the arena is no longer, it's not happening. It didn't happen. It's
Right.
elsewhere, and we're happy where it is.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that was the single most important consideration and that they ran because we threatened that. But if we hadn't existed and there was no voice or organized anything, I think it would have been much more of an uphill battle for residents to try and um, communicate our concerns. So that's just one example in the not too distant past where we
It's a
really
good
stood up and
example.
said this,
That's a good example.
yeah.
And I know the story behind this. I guess what I'm trying to find out from you is not to, to deminimize anyone. So I guess in this situation, the city was pretty much like handcuffed to what the other side wanted to do because, the nature of the,
Well, I I'll answer that by saying that I don't know all the details about a new project coming on the horizon here about I guess a significant warehouse space
right,
up where 111 and the 10 diverge.
right,
But I'm hearing a lot from the city saying it's not our land, it's not our project. We'll do our best.
right.
Um,
So that's not,
so I,
would that be
you
the
know,
same thing? That's not our land, it's not our project. We'll do our best.
right.
Nothing will, okay, okay.
Now there are no quote unquote technical neighborhoods in that area. So,
Right, right,
but that doesn't mean, our organization won't express an opinion. But I mean, that's just an example of we have a very delicate partnership here. And for the most part, I think it works well. But the public needs to also feel comfortable that it can speak and express, and then,
right.
come what may.
I guess you're very fortunate that they listened. They didn't have to listen, but it would have been a whole different. I mean, it makes so much where it is now. It makes so much sense that it's fine. It's like plenty of parking. I mean, I don't understand.
Considering how it turned out,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
10,000 seats. What are you
that could
thinking?
never be downtown in anywhere. I mean,
Anywhere?
maybe
Yeah.
Chicago or, a major city, but not in a little town of 40,000.
Even parking in Chicago would be even worse. Like the Hollywood Bowl in LA, for example. You don't. People cannot park on the street. They take a bus
Exactly.
or they take the car and park and nightmare to leave. 3 hours to leave after. What's why I don't do the Hollywood Bowl. But yeah, yeah.
I think often ideas are floated and it's to like get the public opinion. I mean, I think that happens even in Washington. So,
Right,
things may
right,
not really be planned. It's like,
right.
well, let's just put our finger to the wind and see what breeze we get.
How many people do you have on your board?
Our board is a total of 11,
11?
9 to 11. And each one's a different neighborhood. That's not quite by design, but that's kind of how it turns out. So the board really represents about, I'd say 25% of neighborhoods in the city. So that I think that's a pretty good distribution.
What about the rest of the neighborhoods?
Well, every neighborhood has a representative that's a part of OnePS. I'm just talking about the board in particular, of the 9 to 11 people.
Right.
Each just happened to, no one's in the same neighborhood. We're all in different neighborhoods.
And you cover the entire, from the north end, beginning
All,
to
whatever,
the
100
south end?
square miles, I think. I
Yeah.
mean, the city is vast.
Well, it's not that fast, but it's compared to other places. Compared to like LA, I could do that with
Right.
Palm Springs in one
For this
day.
valley, it's vast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, it could be done like within 45 minutes from one to the
Right.
other. Yeah. What's your
Exactly.
story with Lisa Milton? How did that come about?
I'm sorry.
How did you and Lisa Milton come about?
Um, well, we actually she's the person I ended up talking to first about getting involved in the neighborhood. She had been the chairman or chairperson of OnePS back in the day, on her pathway to become mayor.
Right.
And so yeah, we've been acquaintances and friends for quite some time. And but she was on council at the time when the arena project was being considered, and so because I felt the comfort of having been introduced to the organization, and when I first arrived, I didn't have a problem calling and saying, "So about this project, how are we going to work together on this?"
You really
And
wanted this,
so,
didn't you?
I'm sorry.
You really wanted this, didn't you?
Things happen organically. I just try to,
Oh,
I'm present wherever I'm needed. So
okay, good for you. Good for you.
I'm not
That's
jockeying for
all one
anything.
can do, by the way. That's all one can do.
That's right.
Yeah. So since you're, as you said, organically, or I would say, since you really wanted this, I would have to ask you, I guess, the last question here. What do you see as the bigger picture? What do you see in the future? What do you see 5 years from now? Forget 5 years. I'm not a 5 year planner. What do you see 2 years from now, or even a year from now?
For the organization.
Yes.
Well, we do have pockets of neighborhoods that are not currently represented. And when you drill down, they tend to be just very large, gated HOA communities.
Yeah.
And it's been an interesting conversation we've had. Um, you know, if you look at the city on the website, there's a map of the city, and the neighborhoods are all kind of color coded, checkerboard. And in many cases, people who live in like in a gated HOA, for instance, they I think legitimately feel like that's their neighborhood. I mean,
Correct.
that's their sphere of influence, their sphere of social interaction. Um, and most, as you know, that they'll have a board or some structure. So some areas just feel like we're fine. We don't really need OnePS, and that's fine. What's missing, of course, is then the whole interaction with all the other neighboring hoods, as well as the two-way communication that we have with the city. We have the mayor attend each of our meetings, and um, it's sometimes it's just respectful listening to a report, and sometimes it's more assertive, leaning forward and saying, "Yeah, but you city need to really pay attention to this problem." So, we're not we're, I think it's a polite organization, but we're not shy about saying, look, these are problems we have in the neighborhoods, and we really need the city to hear that. And they do. No, never a mayor leaves the meeting feeling like they don't have anything on their checklist or to-do list. So I feel proud that we're a very democratic process of two-way communication. And I just think that's only going to get better and improve. I would like to see neighborhoods that adjoin each other to be more interactive.
Like
We
where?
don't have walls or fences that define our boundaries.
Like where?
However, I don't see there's a lot of interaction. I'm just going to say the movie Colonies, there's two. I'm trying to make a difference there, but everybody has their board and their agenda and so forth. And I feel like, particularly if you share a street as a boundary, neighborhoods ought to kind of, intermingle a bit more. And so I'm hoping that that could be a goal for the future where It's not just like, nope, this is our neighborhood and we don't do that and you do yours, but have a little more, overlap. So I think that'll come in time. Right now, I'm just happy that everybody has some form of organization going on and that everyone's represented.
What's happening with the homelessness crisis that's evolving?
Well, I have to applaud our chief, who's just done amazing work on many levels. Um, I coming from San Francisco, I understand an unhoused problem. Coming here, it was far better than a major city,
What do
but
you
it
mean?
was there was obvious issues. I think
You can't really
even
compare the two. It's
you
not like
can't, but I'm just saying that it's all relative. But I think that even from, I don't know, a couple of years ago when it was perhaps at its peak of unpleasant, uh, I really feel like they've got a handle on it. I know that the navigation center actually is not a permanent deal.
right,
Unfortunately, I didn't know that at the time, but
right,
they have to keep raising money to keep it open.
right.
But I think it's working. I don't hear people saying we got an unhoused crisis like I did a few years ago. If anything, the topic I hear mostly is speed and traffic and reckless driving, and that's being dealt with. I'm now on a task force that's going to look deeper into that, thankfully. But that I think continues to be one of our biggest issues. But fortunately, I think for all parties concerned, the unhoused situation has improved, and hoping it'll continue to be even better for all of the clients as well as the community. Um, so I do believe there's been measurable progress.
How are you dealing with the ICE situation, if you are at all?
Well, it is a concern, and it's a concern in concept. I have not heard of any incidents that have come to my ears, which doesn't mean anything other than, um, I've heard folks say that they saw them in behind a grocery store in a parking lot or what have you, but it's not bubbling up like it would in perhaps the East
Right,
Valley
right,
as
right,
much. So I'm not saying it's not a problem, by all means, but I'm just saying that I'm not hearing a lot about it right now, and maybe we're just not their focus, or I'm just blithely unaware. But um, it is a concern, and I think the whole community shares. Regardless of whether it impacts you directly or not, it's an unfortunate situation of how aggressive it can be.
trying to think any other issues that we have that I've heard of. I suppose there's always like some hate crime here and there, and I'm not sure how you can navigate that because that's obviously
Yeah, I remember early on hearing about members of the community who were, victims of crime. I have to say, I mean, I am privileged, of course, I guess, but but I'm also trying to think deep into like what are the problems I'm hearing about, and I'm not hearing. I mean, I do believe that we have the right team in the city right now. Um, Police, fire, all the departments are so well led. I can call the chiefs, friends, I believe, and I do believe they're doing great work, and they're very transparent. I think that's critical. There was an activity over here, what's going on, and no one says, move along, nothing to see here.
right.
You get a full report of, well, this is exactly what happened, and this is what we did. And I think that's what the public wants regardless of what department it might be. Just be honest and, tell people what's going on without compromising something secure. But do people want to be informed and they'll back away when it's too much information. But um, there's no such thing as too much information, particularly today, and also with our social media telling us before it's told. Um, so yeah, I just think that the city is in my 10-year view, the best it's been in that period of time. So I'm very happy.
One last question: are you guys involved at all with the policies for the center for the homelessness center navigation center?
We're not.
You're not okay. I didn't think so.
Uh, it's falls within our Desert Highland Gateway neighborhood, and I know that they, as a community, are very actively uh, communicating with. I believe it's Martha's Village is the client the organization that runs the navigation center, and also with the city. But I know there's a lot of fluid conversation. I want to say Congress member, Council member Garner, Grace Garner, that's her district. And I know that she has community meetings constantly. I was just up at a meeting on Saturday up in that area, and a lot of communication about what's going on, and again, transparency. And so while as an organization, we're not directly involved in it at all, um, folks in corners of town are actually deeply in communication. So again, I just say that the organization adds a lot of credibility to the issue. So
And where does the funding come from for OnePS?
we are self-funding. Where our budget is not particularly huge. We do a during modernism, we have a really nice tour. During actually fall modernism, we have a tour program which helps fund us. Coming up in March, we have our annual picnic, which is kind of the highlight of the year. A lot of people enjoy that. It's just a, beautiful day at Ruth Hardy Park.
Yep.
And that's kind of uh, on the books, that's an in and out expense. So that's not really a fundraiser, but it was a project that we do for the community.
Right.
So yeah, we don't spend a lot of money, but we also we bring in enough to kind of keep the organization going. And we're grateful that the city allows us, meeting space. We don't pay for that. We just,
Right.
um, it's a public forum, so it's perfect for city communication. So yeah, we're pretty self-sufficient that way.
Any, beside the board, 6 board members and yourself, any staff or volunteers or anybody that needs to run the show?
We have a staff person. So the city has a manager of neighborhoods. Her name is Denise. She's my right arm and hand and leg, and couldn't live without her. But she's a fabulous person. So she works for the city, and she's a staff person that has, you know, line of sight on everything in the neighborhoods, keeps us organized, and we partner very well with that. But yeah, it's nice to have a liaison with the city, the staff liaison.
Sounds like you're on a mission.
Mission just to keep it going.
Well, thank you for coming here today and teaching at least me a lot about OnePS.
And what neighborhood are you in?
I'm in the end of Palm Springs, where Palm Springs and Cat City meet. I'm like right in that, just past the Wood Park.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I should see you at a meeting soon. Very good.
Yeah. Like I said, I heard about you guys once, I don't know, but the picnic. I gotta think of the picnic. I said, oh, there's a picnic. Okay, like what is that? And then, as you know, fast forward till last week, and then here we are. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I appreciate you coming and
Oh,
enlightening
my pleasure.
and the rest of us, hopefully, to learn more. For the ones that are watching, hopefully this was at value, especially if you live in Palm Springs area. If you want to be involved, reach out to Chris, reach out to me either way, and be involved. I mean, why not, right?
Right. If you don't speak up, it won't be heard.
But the old saying goes. So next time, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you, Chris, again. Until next time, take care, everybody.